Now, your forecast first from KARK4.
Moisture from the remnants of Tropical Storm Imelda continuing to move into Arkansas. We have seen showers and thunderstorms, some with brief heavy downpours and gusty winds from just northwest of Little Rock out through Pine Bluff and across southeast Arkansas. The trend is going to be for higher rain chances as we head into your day on Friday, as all that tropical moisture makes its way to the north. Your forecast first for Little Rock. Still may see a couple of showers and thunderstorms during the overnight hours, but better chances will develop by afternoon tomorrow. We're going to top tomorrow's temperatures out in the low to mid 80s. KARK4 News starts right now.
Now, from the station you count on for local news that matters, this is KARK4 News.
And we start with some breaking news tonight out of Little Rock. One person dead after a shooting police say happened somewhere on Baseline Road. And
let's send it right out to Mitch McCoy, who is on the scene for us tonight. Mitch, what can you tell us?
Well, yeah, Bob and Ashley, good evening. Several hours after this homicide was reported, information still scarce. We are here at the intersection of Baseline and Geyer Springs. You can see traffic behind me moving like regular. There's no strong police presence. There's no crime scene tape, but I'm told officers are in this area and detectives are in this area as well, trying to locate a crime scene. But at this hour, it's still a little unclear where they believe that this victim was shot. We know that the victim around 7 o'clock tonight showed up to a hospital with gunshot wounds. Doctors tried performing life-saving measures, but that victim died. That is the 34th homicide of the year in the city of Little Rock, but that's really all we know at this point. So detectives now going to be working throughout the night trying to piece together exactly what happened, but their biggest priority is figuring out where it happened. So as those details come in, we'll be sure to pass them along to you on air and online at our website, KARK.com. But for now, we're along Baseline Road. Mitch McCoy, KARK4 News.
Clearly some challenges out there tonight, Mitch. All right, thanks very much.
A hefty announcement handed down today from one of the largest gun manufacturers in the country. Colt saying it will suspend the production of AR-15 rifles for consumer purchase nationwide.
Our Haley Brooks joining us in the studio with more on this. And Haley, you spoke to some local folks about this. What's the reaction?
Bob, Ashley, a lot of people I spoke with were confused and then angry. So whether they believe it's really a suspension or permanent, the concern remains the same. Gunmaker Colt announcing it's suspending production of AR-15s for the civilian market, which triggered concern for some.
I would say I disagree with that decision. I think that the Second Amendment's pretty clear.
The brand's guns already on the shelves will not be taken away. They just won't be replaced once sold out.
Plenty of founding fathers who have agreed that even though it's not just for hunting, we should be able to defend ourselves. And it's never the gun or what type of gun, it's how people choose to use it.
While some are concerned about their right to bear arms, others see this move as a financial plan. And Colt said their decision is purely market driven.
Colt's no longer the tyrant in the firearms game anymore that they used to be, and so I kind of feel like it's probably a little more financial and business related than it is actually political related, but it does come on the cusp of some national controversy.
For now, the company says it will concentrate on fulfilling military and law enforcement contracts with its rifle manufacturing.
A major firearms manufacturer cutting off sales to the general public is going to cause everyone to try to get their hands on any type of firearms they can, especially those ARs.
As of now, Colt will still manufacture other guns for civilian purchase. Back to you.
All right, Haley, thanks very much. With so many concealed carry permit classes being offered on the topic of guns, many asked, why would someone get a permit here in Arkansas? Response to ads for classes and enrollment is steady. A local law enforcement officer offering concealed permit class himself explains reasons why people still pay for the permits.
The other thing is the traveling to other states. When you have a concealed carry in Arkansas, it's reciprocal in other states. In other states, just because they have open carry or constitutional carry, more likely than not, it is for the citizens and residents of that state only. So if you're visiting and traveling over to that state, you do not have the right to carry in that state like their residents do. But if you have a concealed carry, other states recognize that and you're allowed to carry in that state.
He explains more reasons people are heading to get their permits. The list goes on. You can see a full digital exclusive story on our website, KARK.com. King also says that he's instructing a class himself the first week of October. All the info on our website, KARK.com.
More details have been released about the man who was shot by police in Hot Springs. According to police, they were called to a home on Chapel Hill Road. That's where they found Zachary Burks with a gun. And that's where they say Burks raised the gun and pointed it at them. The officer shot Burks. Tonight, that officer is on administrative leave, which is standard procedure in cases like this. Burks was taken to the hospital and released. He's now in jail on aggravated assault and other gun charges. Police say Burks has multiple felony convictions on his record.
We're learning tonight the Arkansas Department of Education has scheduled a meeting for tomorrow morning. The topic, the Little Rock School District and state control. A lot of talk about this lately. LRSD Superintendent Michael Poore says that several things tonight the state board and the school district will have to consider if local control were given back. One is by law, a school board election cannot be held until November 2020. Poore says it is possible for local control to be given back, but there still needs to be some kind of state control. Mr. Poore notes the state board could allow a special election, but Little Rock School District would have to put the bill for that. There is another idea, but it may take a little work.
It is also possible that the state board could appoint the board, and that was discussed at this meeting. Probably everybody out in the audience, as soon as I say appoint the state board, I think that the state board and everybody that's paid attention, that's probably the last thing that community members have suggested, but it is possible.
Mr. Poore says there is a possibility in 2020 a local board could be put in place, but would have limited authority, adding those are still things that would have to be worked out. We're going to keep you up to date on all that. The parents of a Cleveland County girl want the dogs that mauled their daughter, to stay away and stay away for good. It happened last week in the small town of Whitesville in Cleveland County. Dozens of bite marks cover 10-year-old Scarlett Roth. She was on her way to the school bus when she says some of her neighbor's dogs were running loose. Scarlett went to tell the neighbor, but she says before she could, a pack of those dogs attacked her.
The dogs were really mean. When she came up to me, I didn't know what to do. I mean, I didn't know where to touch her.
The dogs tested negative for rabies. The day of the attack, the owner told detectives he never had a problem with his dogs being aggressive. At this point, no one is facing any charges.
It is a problem nationwide in cities all across America, and Hot Springs is no exception to homelessness. The Salvation Army of Hot Springs says over the last several months, they've doubled the number of people they're feeding daily, and it's been putting a strain on resources. But along with all the homelessness also comes panhandling, and not everyone who panhandles is homeless. Police say when it comes to stopping the panhandling, there's not much they can do.
If you have someone who's banging on a window or stopping traffic or littering, those are things that can be enforced. But as in standing in an intersection asking for money, we're not going to enforce we're not going to infringe anybody's First Amendment rights.
And police say there are a number of resources in the Spa City to help the homeless.
Americans are feeling the pain at the pump this week. AAA blames the price spike on the attacks on Saudi Arabia's oil plants and warned they could continue to fluctuate. Washington correspondent Kelly Meyer reports the White House says Americans shouldn't be worried.
If you've gone to the pump in the past few days, you may have noticed that prices are rising.
The effects of the attacks on Saudi Arabia's oil facilities are being felt here at home, driving up gas prices at pumps all over the country. AAA spokesperson Jeanette Cassiano says she's been watching it fluctuate all week.
Crude oil prices are definitely getting more expensive. They're about $8 or $9 more a barrel than they were last week.
On Saturday, a Saudi oil processing plant and another oil field were attacked from the air, knocking out almost half of its capacity.
AAA tells me how long the facilities in Saudi Arabia are down could impact how long the prices at the pump stay up. But the White House tells me American drivers shouldn't be worried.
That's not any indication of panic in the marketplace.
Deputy Secretary of Energy Dan Brouillette says they have things under control. That's because of the amount of oil he says we are producing right here in the United States.
In 2019, we're going to produce approximately 13 million barrels per day. And in 2020, that's going to jump to, roughly 13.5 million barrels per day.
AAA says the next few days will be telling how high crude oil will go and in turn how high gas prices will go. Reporting in Washington, I'm Kelly Meyer.
And the holiday season is fast approaching.
Yes.
Well, the city of Southside has long fallen under the shadow of Batesville in Independence County.
But now, with the help of the Postal Service, Southside may wind up being addressed in the manner its neighbors feel it deserves. Plus,
the dogs need a voice. They need a place where they need a safe haven.
an animal rescue finds itself on the other side of a newly established city ordinance that's all about going by the numbers.
And yet another hot September day across the state today. Here in Little Rock, we started at 73 degrees, up to 94 this afternoon. Both of those 10 degrees above our average highs and lows for this time of year. And although we did see some thunderstorms moving through parts of Saline as well as Pulaski and Perry counties earlier, officially at Little Rock National Airport, not a drop in the rain bucket, but more rain chances are in the forecast next.
You're watching KARK4 News at 10 with Ashley Katz, Bob Clausen, Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan, and Drew Amon with your Pig Trail Nation report.